So Halloween is still a bit far away, but I've been noticing some Christians, for example, like David Ladding, posting that Halloween is a Christian holiday, which, if you think about it logically, straight off the bat, it absolutely is not. Now, I want to show you how Halloween has Celtic and Norse roots, which is pretty much paganism, and why Halloween is deeply rooted in paganism. Now, the first root I'm going to be talking about is of the Celtic origin, which is Samhain. It seems like it's going to be pronounced Samhain, but it's Samhain. That's Celtic. Now, this festival starts and ended on October 31st to November 1st. That was the harvest's end, and when the winter pretty much began, which is exactly when they celebrated that time, that festival, that pagan festival. The belief there was that the spirits of the dead return at that night. Now, when we're going to look at the Norse roots, you're going to see something very similar. This video is not going to be very long, not very deep. This is just a basic overview. Right, they believe that the spirits of the dead return at night. Now, the customs around this, the whole point was to ward off the spirits in multiple different ways. One way was to make bonfires to keep those spirits away. Now, we're still on the Celtic origin, Samhain. They also clothed themselves in different disguises to confuse those spirits so that they wouldn't know who's who. Then you had offerings for the dead, right? They would offer food for the dead to gain better position and whatnot. And we also have divination and fortune telling in those times, but that is, not what we really have now. We still have it, but when we're looking at this from people who say this is a Christian tradition that celebrate Halloween, they don't do, divination. But divination has been done in this pagan holiday. Deuteronomy 18:10 to 12, if you want to read it, it forbids us from doing divination, sorcery, consulting spirits. All that was done in this festival. Now, let us jump straight into the Norse, which has Germanic ties. Very, very similar. It's called Vetrinator, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but winter nights is what it means. It was done for honoring spirits and their ancestors, which are their spirits. Their belief, just like in the Celtic one, was that the veil of the dead world, right, between the living and the dead, was very thin in that specific time, which allowed that the spirits would come out. Now, even though that they were ancestors, their spirits, it was a negative thing. So they left offerings for those spirits or to appease the wild hunt. Now, you might, if you played Witcher, you know what the wild hunt is. It's pretty much Odin's ghostly riders. Not the same as in The Witcher, but, the name is very similar. Odin sends his ghostly riders, the hunt, and people leave offerings to befriend those spirits that they just pass by them. Also, they would disguise themselves to not attract those spirits, so those spirits wouldn't know who they are. There's also this thing called mumming, which means going house to house. Leviticus 19:31 says, "Do not turn to mediums or necromancers." This is necromancy. Biblically, the roots of this, I don't even have to quote these verses, but I'm just doing it so you can actually see that the Bible is against things like that. Halloween today is All Hallows Eve. For the Norse Germanic ties of that holiday when the veil was thin. If you also played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there's a part where you have to run around where that festival is played out, and you see that they are hiding, they are putting out stuff, pumpkins, whatever, outside to ward off the spirits. They disguise themselves so that the spirits don't see. Exactly the same thing that you see nowadays in Halloween. This is what Halloween is. Sure, alright, let's call it All Hallows Eve. That is what it has been called by the Christian community. All Hallows means All Saints. So All Hallows Day, All Saints Day, that's what we have in Catholicism and in Lutheranism as well. Lutherans do that as well. They just remember all the saints, so that's pretty much it. We have trick-or-treating, right? Exact same thing as mumming, which is walking around asking for sweets. Also, this echoes the medieval thing called souling, which was pretty much done to, well, cakes were made in exchange for prayers. Jack-o'-lanterns, right? Exact same thing. Pumpkins are laid out. They are carved to ward off the spirits. Why do you do that now as a Christian? What is the point behind that? Innocent fun? No, it has pagan ties. And obviously the ghosts, disguises, and food offerings, as I said before, right? We all see that in the roots of the Celtic and Norse festival. Ephesians 5:11, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Not take them and participate in them and slap a Christian label on them. No. It says, have no fellowship, reprove them. Reprove those dark works, reprove the unfruitful works of darkness. So, is a Christian? Absolutely not. The church simply overlaid those days with those feasts with their day, with their label. And the customs that people do now, it's also absolutely not biblical, right? It's just superstition, it's folklore. And 2 Corinthians 6:14 says, what fellowship has light with darkness? Halloween it's all done in the nighttime when it's dark. Even that should make you think, like, what's up with this? We're not supposed to be partakers of darkness, but light. And just because you overtake something and you still participate in those things, but you have it under a Christian label now, so what's the point in that? Since you have that overview of the roots, you can't argue it away just by saying, yeah, but we took it over, now it's Christian, stuff like that. Yeah, sure, take it, but you'll have to overlook the pagan roots and the traditions and the little fun things that you do. They are all rooted in Satanism. So, if you want to celebrate, and you want to go out and have fun, well, then that's just an excuse to have fun. It's not about you celebrating something Christian, which is not Christian, and trying to overtake it for God and take it away from darkness and bring it to God, bring it to light. Absolutely nonsense. You just want to have fun, and stop being a hypocrite. Stop hiding behind that label. Just go and have fun, and don't call it Christian. Just say it as how it is. You wanna celebrate what the world celebrates. So, on that note, what I'll end with is as well, if you want to look deeper into this, there are many videos. Just go on YouTube and type why Halloween is pagan. Should Christians celebrate Halloween? And there are millions of videos on that topic, way more in depth than I just did. I just wanted to give a quick overview. Right, so on that note, God bless you.